Yo, we're back with our boy from London town with the hot news, Billy Body. What it do?
Yeah, so this week is a lot of clearing up that's out there, that's surfacing online. I don't understand how these Twitter accounts that don't have a face to them, there's no name behind them, there's not this guy, this ex-wrestler, this ex-producer, this dirt sheet writer. There's just these plain like accounts, wrestlingnews.co or whatever. And they have like 200K followers behind them. And they blindly throw out these stories and they get quoted by all of the dirt sheets. This Wrestling News and Wrestling Co. or whatever they're called. All the stuff they put out in the last week has been. And then I get to do a story which just discredits their story. Like, it's like I don't actually have news really this week that's my own.
This is wrestling content creation. People just make up stuff. I mean, it's like a sea of
not only that,
like this organization of misinformation. Kind of like what it
most of these guys aren't burying, the readers like Billy does, and that's why it gets so much heat.
Right? Yeah,
but
that's it. And they're all kissing ass. They're all, they're not making any waves. They're not being controversial, and you're out there not giving up. And you pay a price for that.
What do you think about this other guy, Billy? What is it, Zero or XERO, whatever? Is he a legit guy?
No, he's a nobody.
Ooh.
He's X0. Yeah. He's a nobody. Like, you can watch the product, you can take guesses, and you might land something. And then when you do, like, it's like these betting cappers. Like, I'm dealing with idiots everywhere in everything that I do. I'm undisputedly the best at sports gambling out there. It's a statistical fact. You can put it up against anybody. There's spreadsheets to prove it. If I was making wrestling spreadsheets for news, I'd be like killing everybody at that as well. So for me to be everything I do, I'm not going to like half-ass it. I'm going to be the best at it. I had a conversation with Conan this week about how we can make the show better. Because it was a long conversation, and we might see some like changes in the next 6 months to a year. But like, I don't want to half-ass anything. I was given a ton of money to produce a series. All I had to do was walk in and be Billy Barty from Controversial Character from Big Brother and stick my face to it. No, it was the script was the scenes were the plot was I changed the whole thing. I didn't get an extra penny for it. I'm just not going to tie myself to I'm just not going to be discredited for anything. My news is right. My bets win. These are all facts. Like, all these other guys you're following, you can say what you want about me, and you can say what you want about, like, the way I am.
But Billy, this is the problem. You're talking to the people that aren't listening to this. Like, our audience listens to this everything, and sometimes you bury our audience. Like, we're not getting any traction from the other thing. There's a division between us and the dirt sheets. Okay, the dirt sheet people hate us. Their fans look at us as like we're miserable people or something. We're not. You can't even market to them. It's just like there's this like we have a different core audience than the rest of the rest of bro. Fightful does like all these Patreon because they feed to the nerds. And there's a sea of nerds out there. I can't be like me and Conan are not like nerdy people that get into like nerdy content. And you're the same way. So it's like we're preaching to the choir when we're thinking that like we're going to draw from that crowd. Bro, they don't like us. We're like toxic masculinity and, misogynist and all this just because we speak our mind. You know what I'm saying? So like when we just can't complain about like why these other people have fans and we don't get those fans. They're just not going to come here,
That's not actually what I'm complaining about at all. I'm actually complaining about the fact that people will try and nitpick for a sentence here, like that Roman story. It's like, I
was going to ask you about that.
He has got a burst eardrum or whatever. So what? Like, the fact is that he boarded a plane. He was never going to be in a press conference. He didn't have a fight with Kevin Owens. The story was a lie. Whether he had a burst eardrum or not, I don't give a my story was correct. Like that he did depart a flight because I stood there and saw him get on it. Right? I was told the time at 4:00 in the afternoon. The only reason and my kid was nagging me, and I said to Austin straight up, I'm not missing the Argentina-Mexico game to go to the airport to meet some guy you've already met. So I said, we can go this evening. I promise you, after the show, I know both times, the in and out, and we'll go down there. And then these morons are like, oh, this is stalking, this is whatever. No, it isn't, because it's an 11-year-old kid. When you guys find your, then maybe you'll understand. But like, as I said, like, I'm not going to attack the audience. I don't give a shit. It doesn't affect
well,
my
you just
money.
kind of did. But anyways,
one second.
do you have any hot news?
Yeah, this is it. Like, so the stuff they're putting out makes this hot news because everybody's running with this garbage. Like this week of Roman's.
Is this the Roman's going to
Yeah,
split
I
the
haven't heard
titles?
it. Well, yeah, what is going on here?
Yeah.
'Cause I don't follow the dirt sheets. So
They're saying Roman's going to split the titles, so there could be 2 title matches at WrestleMania. Is the
true or not?
Yeah, is the rumor.
Roman Reigns has one pay-per-view appearance before WrestleMania. So unless he's going to lose to Kevin Owens, which my understanding is that he isn't, then how are you going to do it? How's it going to happen? They're going to vacate the belts. They're going to turn around and go, this guy hasn't turned up for 30 days, 60 days, whatever. Like, they're saying a match is going to be Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins or Drew McIntyre. Like, no, it isn't. Because one of those 3 people I talked to and doesn't know anything about it. So, like, where does this come from, and where does it get a 200K following? Like, when you have a 200K following, you need to be right. And this is where I disagree with your point, because do you want the service or not? The service that I provide is accurate news. The service I provide on the gambling site is accurate bets. But these people gamble, and these people follow me, and despite the fact that they don't like me, they will not discredit what is statistical fact. I make money. And what is statistical fact that my news is accurate, and this news is. So how do you get?
Okay, we get that. What is the?
This is it. Like Roman dropping the belt. Rhea Ripley versus Ronda Rousey is planned for WrestleMania.
So that's not a plan for WrestleMania. I thought it was Becky and Ronda was like.
Yeah, so nothing has changed. So this is the big thing here is exactly what. So I just sent you a text, and it's going to piggyback off this.
Yeah, so I saw that.
I'm going to do 2 stories in one, because some of this is my belief, and some of this is what I know. Everything around WrestleMania is going to be centered around the Rock, what the Rock's doing. If Ronda's going to hang around and finding someone that Stone Cold Steve Austin wants to work with. This is what WrestleMania 39 is all about, and this is what nobody is reporting. Now, Vince McMahon and The Rock have a far better relationship than The Rock and Triple H, because despite the fact that relationship may be mended, Shawn Michaels and Triple H bullied The Rock for the first 2 years he was there, and he never forgotten it. So everything
20-something years later, he still holds a grudge against those guys?
Well, who benefits from The Rock?
Look at his grudge with Vin Diesel. He seems like a guy that gets into a beef and doesn't really.
Oh yeah, he's got a grudge with actually who's the guy from the James Gunn and him are having beef too. Yeah.
Oh, because he's cutting off Black Adam too, right?
But let me set the record straight. It's not, for me, my understanding is it's never about if The Rock's going to do the show or is going to be involved in the show. It's about what he does on the show, and if he puts Roman over, and how much television he's going to do, and if he's going to do the Rumble, things like that. The Rock is going to be at WrestleMania because being at WrestleMania benefits The Rock. The Rock has to sell the XFL to this audience. The Rock has time off allocated for this promotion, and being at WrestleMania and being regularly on Fox is involved in it. So having The Rock's face around that does benefit The Rock. So
then he needs to be on the Rumble because the XFL starts in February before WrestleMania. So he needs, if he's doing this for him and for the XFL, like the benefit, I would think he has to go before it starts, before the league starts. Obviously, correct.
Well, I mean, he just needs to be on television enough to say XFL. So
will you be giving XFL picks on lockbetting.com?
I'm not sure if I will, but
why not?
But the point is that everything The Rock does is about The Rock. Now, Triple H's chances of having a phone call with The Rock and having him agree to what he wants to do have improved by the fact that Black Adam is a massive flop. There's not going to be a second one. Black Adam versus Superman's not going to happen. The Rock's fallen out with DC. The Rock's had to come out. Initially, he unfollowed everybody, and then he had to go and make a statement about how they look, how he hopes they can work again moving forward. So that relationship is soured. So in terms of this whole protecting this superhero thing that we spoke about before. I don't think that's as much of a big thing. The narrative on what The Rock does at WrestleMania isn't going to be influenced by DC or any executives or anything like that. So it's all down to $7 Media, The Rock's company, The Rock, and they're the ones that have control of the XFL. So it's just going to all be a case of this is a promotional tour, and it doesn't matter so much now if the promotional tour ends with The Rock on his back for Roman Reigns, but it's still a lot easier when Vince McMahon is doing the negotiating, because the Vince Rock deal was done. So with this whole talk about Vince coming back, a lot of that would probably center around the fact that WrestleMania is a bit of a mess, and the new guys coming in haven't drawn money, and the characters that are drawing the most on social media and on YouTube aren't really on television. Like when you're looking at that Veer Mahan, who did 4 of the top 10 videos, not being on TV, who was a Vince guy, that doesn't really sit well. But the whole point of everything is what Nick Khan was there to do was to orchestrate the sale of WWE, was to orchestrate the sale the share price to the highest point. That's what all the streamlining was done for. Triple H has gone against that, but ultimately the final decision will still lie with Vince if this company's sold. Vince is not completely gone in terms of if WWE is sold or not, because he's still like the major shareholder. So the whole point that everything you're seeing is to get the company's valuation up past that $85 mark, which is actually realistic if they do a big mania. That's why WrestleMania is centered around what The Rock's doing, what Stone Cold Steve Austin's doing, and getting Ronda Rousey to stay for another year. It's most important to do it inside the window of these contract expirations.